We are in this series of Seen, Known, and Loved, and I wish I could say that Jonathan and I and all of our creativity put those three words together and have known it for ages and lived it out, but we're stealing it from one of the facts that we try to share with our students with Victory Children's Outreach, that they would be seen, that they would be known and loved when we go over to Uganda and are visiting with them. And so much so that we were surprised this morning. Today, one of our daughters, Miriam, it's her 17th birthday today. And one of the things that you can do is for $25 a month, or during the month of their birthday, they get a 3-tiered cake that's massive. It's got her name on it, and they get together and sing and celebrate. And so I got a video of the group singing happy birthday to Miriam and pictures of her face. Check out my Facebook. She is gorgeous. But the video that brought us to our knees was of Miriam telling us thank you, where she calls me Mom Stefan. It's always fun. And she says, thank you for paying my tuition. Now, Miriam's been part of Victory, but hasn't been sponsored for over several years. And even last year, the year before when I was there, Miriam was just present and smiling. Everybody's getting these gifts from their sponsor, and Miriam doesn't say anything. She just keeps smiling, just grateful to be in the room. But now I couldn't get another year go when I was there this past summer, and I want her to know how much she's dearly loved. But she wanted us to know how much she loves us as well, and so that was a challenge to us. Friends, if you want to know more about Victory Outreach and sponsoring a student, please see me. I can tell you about the life-giving joy it brings. But this series, while we did steal their 3 words, I don't believe it's unique to them as well. This series draws us into the heart of God, and we're finding ourselves in one chapter of the Gospel of Luke these 3 weeks. Last week we talked about leaving 99 sheep and looking for one. It goes against all rules. You stay with the masses, you stay with the crowd, you keep them all in line. They'll make more, right? But God challenges us on all these, and these little stories throughout this passage, this chapter, draws us into the heart of God. And so as Ms. Nancy has read, we have this scripture today of a woman searching, of seeking. And I remind myself of a story not too many Christmases ago. We were in Lowe's, and I had my grandmother's ring that had been given to me after she had passed away, but before my grandfather passed away in that Christmas season. And I always kind of play with it a little bit as I walk in, so I knew everything was intact. But then we get into Lowe's, and we're shopping at Lowe's, because who doesn't go to Lowe's for Christmas presents, right? And I remember feeling the spot, and the center diamond, the jewel, was not there. Now, also, I don't know if you've been to Lowe's. It's not the cleanliness of places to find a lost diamond, right? So we began immediately backtracking. Jonathan is looking, I'm looking. It felt like 4.5 hours. It was probably less than 20 minutes. But I make the turn, and there, about an inch from where the shower heads were, on its smooth side was the diamond from my grandmother's ring. And I'll let you know, if you don't know me, I didn't calmly pick it up. I shouted. I believe the guy from plumbing and then the people down in lumber were coming to see what was going on. But I was celebrating, not because of the worth of the diamond that was missing, but because of who it belonged to and what it represents in my life. And if you've ever lost something precious, a ring, a pet, a child, you know that feeling, right? It's not casual. It's not optional. You search to find. And Jesus knew that too. That's why he tells us this story. As I'm going to bring back up verse 8 of our passage this morning, Luke 15, verse 8, it says, or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? Friends, this isn't a story about just a coin. This story is about the heart of God. So if we zoom in on what Jesus is doing in this moment, when he's telling these parables, these stories, he's not chatting with a group of people who already feel loved and included. He's talking to a very mixed crowd. He's got the religious insiders, right? The Pharisees and the teachers of the law. And then he also has the religious outsiders, the tax collectors and the sinners and the people that don't fit in. And the insiders are grumbling about the outsiders. And they're talking about Jesus, saying, this man welcomes sinners and eats with them. To their ears, this is not good news. It was a scandal. Because in their world, holiness means keeping a safe distance from the unholy. They believed if you kept your table pure by keeping your circle tight. Some of you may think that based off who you sit with every week at Wednesday night supper. That's a different story. But Jesus turns their assumptions upside down, and instead of tightening the circle, he starts telling stories of lost things that matter. A shepherd leaves the 99 to search for the one. A woman lights a lamp and sweeps to find a coin. And next week, a father runs to embrace his wayward son. Each story builds, intensifying an image of God who refuses to give up what was lost. So let's talk about the coin for a second. It's not loose change in your pocket or at the bottom of your purse just weighing it down. This 10 silver coins are likely part of the woman's dowry or her inheritance. It may have even been sewn in to the headdress she wore on her wedding day. It represented her marriage, her security. It was her identity. And losing one is not just financial. It's emotional. It's tied to her story. So what does she do? She lights a lamp, sweeps the house, searches carefully until she finds it. Now, friends, this isn't like our houses today, right? We're talking one room, very few windows, if any, dirt or stone floors with cracks where coins could easily disappear. And this woman is on her knees, searching, moving things around, combing through the shadows. And what's that image that Jesus is conveying to us is this is what God is like. God is not distant. God is not casual. Hear this. God is a searching God, a determined God, a God with a lamp in his hand and a love in his heart. Do you see this? A searching God for you, going after us. Henri Nouwen said it so well. He quotes, God's knowing is intimacy, not surveillance. God is not watching us from some cosmic security camera system, keeping tabs on our mistakes. Oh, there's another one. God is watching with love in his eyes, just as this woman couldn't stop searching until she finds what is hers. Jesus says that's what God is like. So let's take it even deeper. When she finally finds the coin, the value of the coin has not changed, right? It didn't lose worth while it was under a table. It didn't depreciate in value in the shadows. Its worth is the same when it was lost as when it was found. Friends, that's significant, right? Because coins in Jesus' day were stamped with the image of the ruler, much like ours of past rulers. Even if a coin was dirty, even if it was hidden, even if it was forgotten, the image on it is still there. And each and every one of you, my friend, are stamped with the image of God. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 tells us, "So God created humankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them." That image is not erased by sin, by trauma or mistakes, or even what the world labels us as. We may feel lost, but to God, the imprint of his likeness pushed in there is unmistakable. God doesn't lose track of his image bearers. So even in your darkest days, God knows exactly where you are. This isn't just a theory. Think of the people you know who have drifted away, or maybe even your own story. The times you felt like you've slipped through the cracks. When everyone else has stopped looking, God didn't stop looking. When you felt unseen, God saw you. When you felt unheard, God listened. When you felt too far gone, God came searching. God searches because you carry his image. You belong to God. And just like that woman who didn't stop sweeping and didn't stop combing through, looking with details, God doesn't stop until he finds you. And there's another layer to this that makes the story even more powerful, in my opinion. The coin didn't do anything to be found. It didn't roll itself out from the shadows. It didn't jump out and prove its worth by any stretch. It didn't send a signal with a GPS location. We need that for a lot of our children today, right? But it just sat there lost. And yet the woman's determination did not waver. Its value motivated her search. That's the grace of God. Our culture always tells us that our worth is conditional. If we work hard enough, if we are smart enough, if we are polished and put together enough, if you keep your life neat and respectful. But friends, Jesus tells this story where worth is already established. I love what the author Rhor says. He says, "Your deepest identity is not what you do, but who you are in God. Your worth is not up for debate. It's already been settled in the heart of the one who made you." So friends, that means that you're not valuable because you're useful. You're not loved because you perform well. You're not found because you fixed yourself up. Friends, you're valuable because you belong to God. You are loved because you bear his image. And you are found because God searches for you. This is the heartbeat of the gospel. While we are still stuck under furniture, God is lighting the lamp and sweeping up. And in that moment, you're found. God doesn't say, "Well, what took you so long?" Friends, I've seen greeters, not here, but don't let it be here, okay? That see people that haven't been to church in quite a while, that have said, "Well, batten down the hatches. Look who finally showed up." Friends, I don't think those people ever want to come back to church again. But our God isn't like that. Our God says, "I'm so glad you're home." So let's go back to the scripture. Verse 9 says, "And when she finds it," that lost coin, "she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, 'Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin.'" She didn't just put it back in her pocket. She doesn't quietly whisper, "Whew, I'm glad that's over." She calls her people, throws a party, and celebrates loud. This is the moment that Jesus is trying to help us see, that when something or someone precious to God is found, heaven doesn't stay quiet. Heaven rejoices. If you've ever found something you thought was gone forever, you know, that feeling in your chest, the relief that just washes over you, the joy that bubbles up instantly, that's what this woman is living in. Her coin isn't just a possession, it's a piece of her story. Something that had fallen into darkness has been brought back to life, and she cannot keep it to herself. Imagine the scene just for a minute. She burst open her door, broom still in hand, and she shouts, "I found it!" Neighbors gathered, smiling, laughing, celebrating. The lost is found. And it's a community celebration. Jesus adds in the scripture, verse 10, "In the same way I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents." Do you see that subtle detail right there? It doesn't just say the angels are rejoicing, right? In the presence of the angels of God. That means God himself is celebrating. When you're found, God rejoices. God throws a party. Your name is on the cake. I love how extravagant it is. But it doesn't just say, because Jesus could have easily wrote in the scripture, God is pleased when people come home, period. But that's not the heart of God. Pleased is polite. Rejoicing is loud. God's love isn't just this quiet nod, it's a shout of joy. Friends, this is where it gets personal for us. You're not just accepted or tolerated in the kingdom, you are celebrated. Your life is worth throwing a party over. And heaven throws a party over one. Not the masses, not the 99, one. That moment that you say, God, I'm coming home. Lord, I trust you. Lord, here's my heart. Friends, he's not waiting for your perfection. He rejoices in your return. But we're not meant to just be a people who feel seen, known, and loved with a searching God. We're invited to join the search. Do you hear that? We're not just meant to be found. You're invited to join the search. God didn't tell us this story of a woman lighting a lamp just to give us warm feelings. He told it to show us what love looks like in motion. And for most of us, joining God's search won't start with a stage or a pulpit. It starts with something much quieter, but just as holy. I believe there's a practice God is asking of us this week, and it's deep listening. Not small talk, but soul talk. Not listening to respond, because too often we just want to have a quick answer, but listening to really see someone. Every day we walk past people carrying stories that no one has taken the time to hear. The cashier at the grocery store, the teacher down the hall, the neighbor that you just waved to, the person who sits in the same spot at church but you've never really spoken with. Here's the truth. For some people, being deeply heard is the first time that they will truly feel seen, known, and loved. Think of that woman lighting a lamp. She didn't wait for the coin to come to her. She made the space. She searched intentionally. And that's what deep listening is. It's sweeping out the space in your schedule, in our schedule, quieting the noise in your own head and saying with your presence, you matter. I see you. You're worth finding. So this practice of deep listening, there's a couple of ways that we can go about it. First, have one meaningful, name-deepening conversation with someone you know, maybe only casually. Truly get to listen to them. And then ask a question that invites a story, not just an answer. So hear me on this, good Southern people. The question is not, how are you doing? Because the answer is, there you go, you got the answer. You want to know more than that. And then lean in with your heart, not just your ears. And then one of the hardest ones for me, don't rush to fill the silence. Let their story breathe. Some of the questions you can ask is, what's something that brought you joy lately? That's so good to hear what brings them joy. What's something most people don't know about you? Be careful, because that could go a different direction than you might be expecting. And then what's something you're hoping for this season? It may seem small, but so did lighting a lamp and sweeping a floor. And that simple act changed everything. When we practice deep listening, we become those lamp lighters. We join God in the search. We say with our presence, you are seen, you are known, and you are loved. Friends, this isn't just a nice idea. This is kingdom work. And it can happen in many places, at your kitchen table, in the grocery line, in the church hallway, or even at the carpool line. Because that's where lost things are often found, in the ordinary, everyday spaces of our lives. So as you go this week, remember this. You're holding a lamp. You're sweeping a corner of someone's world. And heaven's joy, heaven's celebration begins in moments that look ordinary, but are anything but that. So let's join in the search and let the people around us feel seen, known, and loved.